Hello, watchers of YouTube. 'Tis I, the guy you have hopefully come to love over the past couple of days. That's right. It is Braden of the Pokken Nation. How you all doing? So, as you know, TJ bought a wonderful Charizard EX box, red and blue collection for our first video. So far that's gone pretty well. What's funny is he bought another one. So, yeah, he bought another one because he wanted to, and he was hoping to make another video out of it, but he lost patience, and, well, he opened it in the car. So, anyway, the best thing, the only ultra rare he pulled from the packs was a lovely full art Radiant Collection Sylveon EX. Love the artwork on this card. Huge fan of the Radiant Collection stuff, just because they're great. So, if you don't know, well, if you haven't watched our previous video, he did pull a Leafeon EX and then the full art Mega Gardevoir EX from the Radiant Collection. So overall pretty good. Pull rate for the second box was a little bit lower, sadly, but it was great. So, the camera. Anyway, because TJ's pockets are wonderfully empty, and I don't want, well, I kind of can't go out and buy anything right now, because, well, my pockets have things in them, but I can't exactly use it right now. Anyway, so I thought I'd do something a little different. If you've watched many kind of PokeTuber videos before, you've probably at least seen one or two deck profiles. So, if you don't know what a deck profile is, it's basically someone has built a deck, and then whoever's making the video has kind of shown you the deck, what cards it uses, how they're used, why, all that fun technical stuff. So the reason why I am not, of course, doing one of those is I have very few in-format cards, which is interesting because I can't do anything for expanded format or standard format. If you don't know what I just said, good for you. Anyway, if you're going to build a deck, sometimes you go and look at deck profiles, maybe to see an idea of what you might face in a tournament. Anyway, I'm kind of going to be doing a mini profile. So, basically all I'm going to do is show you kind of a segment of a deck that I have used that actually has worked fairly well, that I am first of all quite fond of, and well, yeah. So anyway, as you can probably see, the main focus of this mini profile is Gallade and Mega Gallade EX from Roaring Skies. So Gallade is Roaring Skies 34 of 108, and Mega Gallade is 35 of 108. So basically, all I'm going to do is go over attacks, how you're going to use this kind of thing. But I hope you enjoy it, because whether you like it or not, I will be doing more of these. But anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So anyway, Gallade is fairly good card. Psychic type, 170 HP. 2 attacks, Swift Lunge, Piercing Prizes. Weakness to Psychic, retreat cost of 2. All that fun technical stuff. But all I'm truly going to worry about is the attacks this time. So anyway, there are 2 attacks, as I said about 5 seconds ago. First is Swift Lunge for a Psychic and a Colorless. Does 30, and you can have your opponent switch their active for one of their bench Pokemon. which is pretty good considering if they've been powering something up on the bench for a couple of turns, but are still a couple of turns away from having it out on the field and just tearing through all your stuff like wet paper. This is probably going to be a huge annoyance, but it's worth doing. Anyway, so second attack, piercing prizes for 3 psychic energy. Kind of a high attack cost, unfortunately, but it's kind of worth it. So it does 50 plus 20 for each of your remaining prize cards. So it has the potential to do up to 170, which is pretty good, especially if you're going up against a psychic type deck, or I don't know what else is weak to psychic, but anyway. So if you're going to start out with this card, you probably want to use piercing prizes as soon as physically possible, considering you have 6 prize cards to begin with, and if you can attack for 170 first turn and then kind of go from there, that's pretty good. And by first turn, I mean the first turn you can actually attack with piercing prizes. But anyway, the only downside is the attack goes way, way down after a while, especially if you're going up against a very, very EX heavy deck. I know decks like this do exist, and first of all, if you can at least knock a couple out in a couple turns, that'll get you going. But if you knock out 2 EXs, you're down to 2 prize cards. You're only doing 90, which really, really isn't a lot by today's standards. But anyway, that is where these come in. So basically, what you're going to want to do is, as soon as your piercing prizes is starting to get a little low, maybe you killed 1 EX, couple of basic stuff, all that, you're going to want to just spam Swift Lunge as much as possible. So use it a million times over and over to switch around their active and bench Pokemon, and basically do 30 to each of their bench Pokemon when you attack it and send it back to the bench. So that doesn't do you too much, especially if you're doing 30 and you really can't do too much with that. But this is actually where this comes in. So Mega Gallade EX, 220 HP, same weakness to Psychic, same retreat cost, all that fun deliciousness. Anyway, so the only attack it has, Unwavering Blade, 2 Psychic, 1 Colorless. It has 110, which is pretty good. And the effect of the attack is it does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That is why I said to just spam Swift Lunge. Because if you switch their bench Pokemon over and over and over again, to the point where all their bench Pokemon have like 60, 90 damage counters on them, that's going to be kind of hard to heal. So if you can use Unwavering Blade and do 110 damage to their active and knock it out, and then do 30 to all their benched, first of all, you just knocked out their card, if you actually did knock it out, and you just gave their bench Pokemon more damage to deal with. So, if you knock out their active Pokemon, it does damage to the bench, which, when they switch their, they're benched into an active position, first of all, it already has damage counters on it, which means it's easier to get rid of, and if you can knock it out fairly quickly and do more damage counters to their bench, you're just making things easier and easier on yourself. So, this does have some limitations, like Float Stone as a Pokemon tool. kind of a huge annoyance to this kind of thing, but if you can more or less force them to retreat it over and over, maybe get rid of that Pokemon and the Float Stone, that'll help you quite a bit. And then if you can start hitting for heavier damage and doing 30 to all the bench that have damage counters on them, you're off to a pretty good start. May even win. Depends on how you use it. I have seen a couple of decks built with this, but it did use the promo Gallade from like one of the tins or something. But for kind of a beginning strategy, pretty good. Fairly easy to use. Actually remarkably cheap considering it's an EX and a Mega. But in my opinion, fairly competitive cards. You have to find the right place for them. Anyway, so that kind of concludes our wonderful mini profile. I will hopefully make more of these in the future. Send in suggestions for what you want to see. I will at least read them, and then if I can, try to put it into a video. Yeah, so, yeah, video's over. I know you're so sad. Remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends, your neighbors, your family, your friends' neighbors, your neighbors' friends, all that fun deliciousness. If the screen just blurred, it's because my phone has a crappy battery and just told me it wants to go to low power mode. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff I told you. Anyway, have a good day, all that wonderful stuff, and goodbye.